Tonight may be mischief night, but tomorrow is when the real fun begins. All of the witches and ghouls walking around excited to hit up the next house for some Halloween treats. And in all of the excitement, there are a few things we should remind our kids about before they head on out for Halloween. And we have our weekly check-in with Fargo Police. Jessica Schindeldecker is with us again today. We were kind of joking leading into this. A lot of these reminders people should remember, but in all of the excitement and kids wanting to control their own costumes, there are some important reminders for costumes and keeping kids safe. What would you like to remind families?
Well, if we want to start with costumes, making sure that they fit appropriately. If it's too big for them, they might trip and fall in the middle of the roadway, and a motorist is less likely to see them if they're laying flat on the roadway in the dark concrete, right? But also like lighting them up. A lot of costumes are dark, and it's getting dark now earlier these days, and majority of kids are trick-or-treating when it's pitch black. So it's just important to put those glow sticks on them. I don't know if you were able to get into the PD and grab our little flashy LED pumpkin lights, put that on them, make them visible. It might be the difference between being seen and not being seen by a motorist.
Do you still have any of those pumpkins left?
No, they went
hot
fast.
Candy,
yes.
I bet. But every Halloween store I go into, there's lots of options, whether it's the snap glow sticks or the lights, or how about taping them up a little bit with the reflector tape?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you can do to just add some sort of visibility, especially for those motorists who are out there. I always try to say, we know that it's Halloween and everybody's going to be out there trick-or-treating from about dinner time until 9 o'clock or so. So if you don't have to drive anywhere, especially in your neighborhood, just don't. Stay out of there, because there's going to be kids walking across. You're going to be sitting there waiting to drive through the roadway because people are crossing at not crosswalks in and out between cars, and it's just not safe. But as parents, remind our kids about this, especially if you're older. Kids are going out on their own. Remind them of these safety habits and to be cognizant of it. They're all excited about where they're going to get the full-size candy bars and the really cool prizes. So they're not really thinking about those personal safety things. So as adults and motorists, we need to be taking that extra step to be slowing down, distractions away, just paying attention.
Sometimes as the driver, if you're out too, you're like distracted by the light up, large cat or pumpkin or a kid over here, and you don't see the one over here. So there's distractions for drivers as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go to, I hate to even bring this up again, but safety of what you're getting at people's homes. That comes up every once in a while. Do you still remind people, about what, no homemade treats?
Yeah.
Maybe if the candies are open. What are some of the things that parents should look at?
Just talk to your kids about not eating or digging into that Halloween bag before they have a chance to go through them. The likelihood of something bad or dangerous being in your child's Halloween trick-or-treat bag is pretty slim. But we want to make sure that just in case somebody they went to a house where there was some drugs and they accidentally got into the bag with that Snickers bar, we want to make sure that we're getting it before our kids are, and not consuming treats that aren't store-bought. Don't be eating the homemade candied apples or anything like that.
Because you don't know what's in it.
You just don't.
And, when you talk about what's going on in people's houses, we have talked a lot about fentanyl and the dangers. I mean, if there would happen to be any fentanyl dust or powder, I'm not trying to freak people out, don't eat your candy, but, it's out there.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, the likelihood is very, very, very slim. But in the event that it happened, I mean, we need to make sure that we're aware of when our children are touching something or consuming their candy, and maybe paying attention a little bit about any sort of warning signs, hard time breathing, things like that.
I asked you in the break, do parents ever ask you or Fargo Police of danger zones or areas where there are sex offenders that they should not go to? Yeah,
there have been a few comments. Every single year it trickles in, and I think it became kind of popular, or kind of people are curious about it, because there's a sheriff down in a southern state that posts signs in sex offender yards saying don't trick or treat here. However, there are hundreds of sex offenders living in our community, and not all of them are high risk, and the majority of them don't pose a risk to strangers. Most of the time it's known acquaintances that are these sex offenders. So if you're curious and you really don't want your child to go up to a door where there is a sex offender living, go onto the North Dakota Attorney General sex offender site, do the map near me, put your location in, and it will show you who's living where.
And I know we've done a lot of stories too. It's a great night to make sure your children, if you're not with them, make sure they have a phone on them. You can track them. You can make sure they're checking in with you as well.
Absolutely. There's a lot of good apps. If you don't already have a parental control app, there's Apple has the Map My Friends. Make sure the location services are on, and you can just do it for the duration. This might be a good way to get it on and just not turn it off again. So now you know where your child is from here on out.
I like how you're thinking. Well, thank you. I know I feel like I'm not trying to be a downer, just have fun, but be safe out there, and lots of questions that parents have, especially as Halloween approaches. Jessica, thank you so much for coming in. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on North Dakota Today.